Go. What's happening, people? Welcome to another episode of No Ball, a UK Chicago Bulls podcast. I say this every week, but I'm really looking forward to this. We have Chicago Bulls royalty, as far as I'm concerned, tonight as a guest. He's Mr. Chicago Bulls drip. He's the king of the drip. Some may argue that's Hayes. We'll get into that, I'm sure, at some point. He is also a host of another podcast, which is called the Nothing But Ball podcast. If you haven't heard that, go and subscribe. Does that with a couple of guys, and that's awesome. We're going to get into that as well. Mr. Derek Briscoe, aka Young Jordan. How are you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm really good. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you for having me on.
I appreciate you sort of being flexible with the times as well, because it's 7 or just gone 7 p.m. over here, and obviously it's about 1 where you are in the afternoon. So not always easy to make those times work, but we did it. You were pretty good, so appreciate that.
No problem. I mean, I got off at that time, so just need a quick little minute to finish up the work and hop right on here.
Awesome, Mal. I appreciate that. I really do. I'm going to start with, obviously, for those that don't know, Derek doesn't live in Chicago. He lives in Washington. Are you from Washington or?
I am from Maryland, Pleasant, Maryland, same city as Kevin Durant.
Oh,
So,
okay. Okay. So why the Bulls?
uh, first grade, 6 years old, seeing the VHS of Michael Jordan's Playground, and it's like, wow, this guy's amazing. He's flying like through the air, and been a Bulls fan ever since then.
Yeah. Same as so many people of our sort of generation, then I guess. Same reason. Michael Jordan and those 90s Bulls. How can you not fall in love with them, right?
Right, it's the goat.
Facts. Facts. And AKA Young Jordan. So
Yeah, I mean, collected
enough
Jordan
said.
since elementary, following
Yeah,
Jordan.
man.
So
I touched on it earlier, but you are the king of the Bulls, Chicago Bulls drip, as far as I'm concerned, and that's no disrespect to Hayes. He's got some drip himself, but I'm gonna just call it, man. I know you guys have spoken about doing a drip off, which has to happen, by the way. But I'm gonna give it to you unofficially.
I appreciate that. Still waiting on Hayes.
I think he's scared. I think he's scared. If those that
Oh,
don't know Derek, you got to go and follow him on the socials. He's at. Is it just at Young Jordan?
it's at Young Jordan.
Is that on Twitter and Instagram? Both the same username, right? So get on there, go and follow Derek at Young Jordan, and just look through the photos, and you'll see that. I mean, I've got a lot of Ball stuff. I'm a sucker for Bulls merchandise, but this man makes me look like I've got 2 jerseys and a hoodie. And I've got a lot of hats. I'm looking at that. I've got probably about 30 or 40 Bulls hats. And yeah, I think you've got way more than that. And the shoes as well. You got it all, man.
It's been just steady, steady stacking Bulls stuff.
And it always matches. The shoes match the hats, match the hoodies.
This has got to be done.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I'm with you. Samity agrees. Your Bulls drip. Yeah, just unbelievable, man. So I've got to give you that. But I do need. I think we all need to see a Derek V Hayes drip off. That would be fun if nothing else. But yeah, I'm going to unofficially give it to you.
Appreciate it. Like I said, I'm waiting on Hayes. I know he's busy recording all the content that he does, but I'm here. I'm ready.
Sure, man. So I just got to let the cat in. Every time I start recording, the cat decides he wants to come in. Um, we've got quite a lot to touch on. A lot's happened this week. which we can't say the same about the deadline because nothing happened at all. I know. I don't think you were expecting too much to happen. I just had a weird feeling that something big was going to happen. I don't know why, because I've thought that before and been massively let down. But I had a reason they were going to do something big on the deadline. And of course, in true Bulls fashion, absolutely nothing happened.
I mean, nothing at all.
Are they not watching what we're watching?
Um, if you listen to AK's press conference, it does not sound like he's watching what we're watching.
It's unbelievable, man. Yeah, I was really annoyed that they didn't do any. Just do something. I said on last week's podcast, like, if they did something and it failed, at least they've tried something, right?
Right.
I would rather them have done that than nothing. Continuity.
Yeah, I didn't expect him to do anything at the deadline. Until the day of the deadline, I was like thinking it was a 15% chance they were going to make a move just because of it was some rumblings about Zach being moved to the Knicks, but nothing came from it
No,
all season.
my understanding is AK wanted RJ Barrett involved in that trade. That's what we're led to believe, anyway. I don't think the Knicks were ever going to include RJ in that deal. Had they had done, how would you have felt about that? Would you have made that trade with the risk of really upsetting a certain Mrs. Zach LaVine Romina, who may or may not listen to this? How would you have felt about that trade had RJ Barrett have been included in it?
I don't know. I mean, it was rumored to be 3 first-round picks. If RJ Barrett was in there, you also get Derrick Rose bringing him back home. But Evan Fournier, I would not take that contract at all. I know he had to be thrown in to like match Zach's money, but no, I think you can get something better for Zach if you decided to trade him.
I think if you take Fournier, that's a wave straight away job. I mean, don't even put him in the uniform, right?
No, he's gone.
No, he's not it, is he? No. Yeah. Do you think he's going to be traded? Do you think they're going to shop him again in the off season? I mean, you have to think they will. The fact that they've kind of semi-shopped him at the deadline, I guess, or at least they've taken calls on him.
From my understanding, do not be surprised if Zach is traded during the summer, maybe before the draft or at the draft. Hopefully, it's better than a Knicks package with Evan Fournier. Is the headline.
Yeah. Shout out Easy in the comments as well. Thanks for joining us, man. And yeah, Samadi says he was hoping for a combo of Quickly and Toppin and some picks. Obi Toppin and Quickly, which again, man, I don't know. I am so confused with Zach LaVine because there are times when I just think, oh my God, he is unbelievable. And then he just does something really dumb. Because I'm sorry, Romina, but his decision making is something I've always had an issue with, and it's not improved in my opinion. His decision making is shocking, but like I always say, he's the reason we're in a lot of these games in the first place. So I'm really torn with it, man.
Yeah, I agree with you on like his decision making and his basketball IQ. I've said before, I really don't put that too much on Zach because he hasn't had the best coaches in his career. He had Tibbs like real briefly, I think less than a season, and the other guys are Fred Hoiberg, Jim Boylan, Billy Donovan. So it's not like he had a coach that would help him understand how to make better decisions. So your best bet is having like a point guard who can get the offense going like Lonzo did at his knee.
We're going to touch on that, but yeah, I agree. I think if Lonzo's healthy, we're not even talking about this with Zach or anyone else for that matter. I
Yeah.
think he's that important to this team. I said it at the start of the season. I think I said it last season when he went down injured. For me, Lonzo Ball is the most important, not the best, the most important player for this team to work. And I remember putting that out in a tweet, and Mark Kay, the Aussie from CHGO, just shut it down and said no, he completely disagreed, blah blah blah. And I love Mark, but we all know how stubborn he is. Once he's made his mind up, that's it, right? And he wasn't having it, man. And I'm just like, surely what's happened this season has proved that he was probably our most important piece. I mean, I don't know. Do you agree with that?
I definitely agree with that. He connected everything,
Mm,
offense and defense. He made everybody's job easier. There wasn't all these turnovers, unnecessary dribbling. This guy could throw it the length of the court for an alley oop assist. Like Alonzo made everything work, and the pieces without him are not meshing as well as they were with him.
yeah, 100%. I mean, he saw passes that before they were even there. Yeah, I can't talk hard. It sucks, man. I mean, the news come out, was it yesterday, I believe, that they were, I think, officially from the Bulls, that they were going to shut him down for the season. I think we all knew it was coming, but it didn't make it any easier. I think it was almost like, although we knew he realistically wasn't coming back, we just hoped. There's a tiny little bit of hope that he may come back after the All-Star break, or at least for the maybe sort of final push to get into the playoffs. But having it confirmed, it sucks, man. It just is he even coming back next season? Realistically, we don't know. The doctors don't know. Nobody kind of knows. I think that's the worst part is he's not been diagnosed with anything in particular. That no doctor knows what's wrong with his knee, and so many have looked at it. That's the worrying thing for me, and it sucks as a Bulls fan, but I think it sucks more for him. I feel really bad for him because he'd fixed everything. I mean, his shot, we all know how ugly the form of his shooting was, right? It looked as bad as how I shoot the basketball. It was terrible. For him to change that, he worked so hard to become the player that he was before he went down injured, and now for this, it sucks, man. It sucks so. I'm so disappointed about it. It's just,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's like, I mean, you had when he started his career with the Lakers and LeBron comes in and takes the ball out of his hands, he can't play high. He naturally plays. Went to New Orleans, they try to make him a shooting guard. He comes here, he gets the chance to play how he wants to play the game. He's effective, then he gets hurt, and it's got to be killing him as much as it's killing Bulls Nation. And we dealt with D Rose's knee. Zach's had a few knee problems, so it's like, why do we get all these knee problems thrown on our players?
we can't catch a break, man. We definitely can't. I mean, he was probably our most consistent 3-point shooter as well, and it's just, I don't know. It's just everything. His defense, his shooting, his playmaking. He had everything that we are literally crying out for now. We need a 3-point shooter. All right, our defense has been pretty solid, but we need a 3-point shooter. We need someone who can bring the ball up the court. We need someone who can find anyone, even if they're not even fully open. Just Lonzo found he found a pass that wasn't even there. Everything he had is exactly what we need, and it just, yeah, man. I'm frustrated. I'm sad. I don't know whether I'm angry or I'm going to cry about it, but I hope he can just. I mean, if he's back, for me, we're not talking about Zach LaVine trading him. We're not talking about your favorite coach, Billy Donovan. Should he be here or should he not? For me, Lonzo just changes all of that because we're not in the position that we're currently in. That's my opinion on it. But let's touch on Billy. I know you're his biggest fan. Who I'm going to touch on it because you just mentioned the other two. So you got Fred Hoiberg and the bald-headed menace, we'll call him, and obviously Billy Donovan. I mean, who? If you had to pick one of those three guys to be in charge right now, who would you pick? And I know it's not a nice question, but it's just a hypothetical I want to ask you.
I don't think I can pick any of
I think I'm
them.
going Fred.
Yeah, I'm like, it probably would have to be Fred. I mean, Fred, at least he knew how to like use Laurie correctly
Yeah,
because as soon as the ball head Menace got here, that's when he just had Laurie just stand in the corner and shoot threes. And that's when Bulls Nation piled on him like, oh, this guy, he's got to go. We need to get him out of here because he doesn't do anything. What happened to the rookie Laurie we saw? Well, he had a different coach that understood he doesn't need to just stand in the corner. So I'd have to go with Fred.
and look, you get a competent coach in charge, and you find your happiness, and all of a sudden you're an all-star. That's yeah. Personally, I called it years ago. I think 3 years ago, I said I believe Larry Markkinen would be an all-star. I think I said within 2 years at the time, so I was a year out. But listen, we all saw how good Larry Markkinen could be on his day, right? When he was aggressive, when he had a bit more freedom. We all saw how good he could be. It just wasn't consistent enough, which was the biggest issue. I am so happy to see Lowry absolutely shine in Utah. I mean, it sucks that he's not doing it for us, but personally, I couldn't be happier for the guy. I was always a massive Lowry Markkinen fan, as most people are aware. But yeah, I've kind of just got this weird sort of, it's like a family, but even though I'm not related in any way, shape, or form, I kind of feel towards him like I would about my brother or a kid or something. You know, I kind of just always like, come on, Larry, please be good, please be good. Even when he was with the Cavs, and I don't like the Cavs, but I always wanted Larry Markkinen to do well because I've just always kind of rooted for him. So to see him get called up as an all star, I couldn't have been happier. Like literally, couldn't have been happier for him. And yeah, I hope it continues. I legitimately do. I think most of the Bulls fans don't feel uh, sort of too much nastiness towards Lowry. Well, I hope not anyway, because you know I know he made a few comments, but who hasn't when they've left this organization, right?
Yeah, it's been a few comments. Some people they still aren't for the Laurie. And I mean that's fine because he did say he was ready to move on, and some people will take that personally. Um, but yeah, he's doing great over in Utah, where he's got a coach that understands the type of player he is. He sent a shot at Jerry and said, it's good to have an owner that cares. So I think that won people back over because they're like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that says a lot, right? It's kind of what we're all thinking anyway, right? Yeah, it's oh, man. This is not how this season was supposed to play out for us, is it?
No, especially not after we made the playoffs last year, being the first seed in the East for the first half of the season until Lonzo got hurt and everything. People were expecting this team to be better and to be a top 4 or 5 seed and trying to get to 10th.
Yeah, I mean, we were literally the first seed in the East for I think it was like 2/3 of the season last year. We were beating the bad teams and losing to the good teams. This year, I'm gonna put a prediction out. So pre All Star break, I'm quite a confident person. I think I always try to be at least anyway. And pre All Star break, I had enough, man. I still watch every game, not live, but I still watch every game. And I struggled those last maybe 5 games before All Star break. You kind of felt that you knew what was going to happen. Um, it didn't matter if last season, if the Bulls were down by 30 points at half time, you backed them to come back and win. It didn't matter who it was. You kind of just had a weird feeling they were going. This season's the opposite. We could be up by 50 at half time, and you're like, this game is not over. Like, we're probably going to lose, and we do. So that's straight away one complete opposite to last year. We're also beating the good teams this year and losing to the bad teams. Another complete flip on last year. We're doing terrible. Our record's shocking this year compared to this time last year. I think we were second in the East. I think we went into All-Star break second. Miami Heat were first. And then after All-Star break is when it all fell apart. So on the basis, and this is me trying to be positive and just trying to find something, on that basis, I'm going to throw it out there and say the Bulls are going to go on a run from now to the end of the season. I was going to put a number on it, but I've bottled it. I was going to say and finish in the top 6, but I think that's really ambitious. I'm going to say top 7. We will finish in the top 7, so probably the play-in. But I just think that it's been so completely opposite to last season. So why not carry that on and just do the opposite to what we did last year?
Yeah, I think we'll get into the play-in. Because these games that we've been losing, it's not like we're getting blown out. We've had like big leads and then just fall asleep.
Yeah.
It's like, wake up, focus, finish the game out. And now, with our new addition, that might help wake people up and keep them more focused into the game. Might have better results.
So when we got quite heavily linked with Russell Westbrook, I wasn't too excited about it. I just kind of, at that stage, I think I just had enough. And a bit like yourself, I know from listening to your podcast, you were absolutely against a tank, weren't you? Because, if we fall outside the top 4, the pick's not even ours, right? And that's exactly how I felt all season long. People were saying, just throw the towel in and just tank. For me, that just wasn't an option. But those last few games just got me. They just got me bad. I was all in on a tank. Right, let's just throw this out and just pray to God that we get a top 4 pick, because what is the point of even continuing this season the way that we're playing? Like, nobody's enjoying this. The players clearly aren't enjoying it. They all look really unhappy out on that court. Now, I think I've had that break with the All-Star break. We've bought in Patrick Beverley. Now, if you had said to me a couple of months ago, we're going to sign Patrick Beverley, I'd have gone, but why? And honestly, Bulls Nation, I am trying to find something, because I hated that negativity that I was bringing to the social media pre-All-Star break. I'm trying to find something. So I am buzzing for this Patrick Beverley signing, because, I mean, have you heard his interview he did on his podcast he done? He's not going to... Patrick Beverley's one of those players that if he plays for another team against you, you hate him, right? But if he plays for your team, I think he's one of those that we're really going to love. And I think he could become a bit of a fan favorite for many people.
Definitely. He's from Chicago, so he's already got that going for him for people to get behind him. Like you said, when he's on the other team, you can't stand him. But when he's on your team, you love to see him play. And I think that's going to be the case. I said, I think he's going to get on guys. Like I said in this interview, he already said he was going to get on Zach. So,
he singled out Zach, yeah.
Yeah, he went right for Zach's neck. Like,
but rightly so, right? Rightly so.
Yeah, rightfully so. So, we'll see if, I mean, this team needed some dogs on it, and Patrick Beverley is a dog, and he is going to hold guys accountable. And that's why I wasn't too against Westbrook, because I thought he would have did the same thing. Like, he wouldn't have been afraid to get on guys, but he went to LA. Can't blame him.
No.
They're competing for a title. So,
And it's a
but
big FU to the Lakers as well, him going across.
yep, just like Pat said, we glad the Lakers is going to try and knock them off the playoffs. So, Lakers didn't make so many friends at the trade deadline.
No, they did not. No, they did not.
Yeah, I mean, never like fully embraced the tank, even with those games. It's like it has to do with so much with draft lottery luck. Because we would have to finish like fifth worst and then hope that the odds were in our favor to move up so we could just to keep our pick. And that doesn't even mean that we had the number one pick that everybody is assuming we would have and get Victor.
Wemby.
Yeah, they just assumed if we tank, we'll get that number one pick. And that's not guaranteed at all. So I never fully embraced the tank. And AK doesn't want to tank. He said it. Wants to make playoffs. So now I'm guessing he's going to settle for the play-ins because making the playoffs is going to be a little steep. But he said he doesn't like picking that high, so he doesn't want to be in the lottery. So they were never looking to tank, and now you got Patrick Beverley. You bring him in, his energy. So how I'm feeling about it is like, win or lose now, it should be funny with Patrick Beverley on the team.
I'm looking forward to it, man. Honestly, I am. I'm hoping he does bring that energy back because that's been seriously lacking throughout the whole team, not just Zach, DeMar as well. There's just been no energy there. I liked what he said. He said he was going to give Zach a kick up the backside and he was going to be on him. And he said him and DeMar were good. So he's obviously got a lot of respect for DeMar. And he said I forget the word he used, but he had a legit 5 in Vooch, which he was excited to work with. So, I mean, we all see it when you play through Vooch, you have a lot of success. So let's hope that Pat Bev, brings a bit more of that because we don't want any more hero ball. And I'm sometimes I know people that sounds like I'm a Zach LaVine hater. I'm not a Zach LaVine hater. There's a lot of things I question about his game. But I'm a massive DeMar DeRozan fan, huge DeMar DeRozan fan. But I even question him this season because he just looks off. So hopefully Pat Bev will sort of bring a bit more belief back to everyone in the team, including DeMar, because we all know DeMar. Last season we were talking about him as a top 3 in the MVP voting. Now he's nowhere. No one's even mentioning his name when you say MVP. So we all know what he's capable of. We all know what this whole team's capable of. Hopefully he brings out a bit more in Pat Williams as well, which we've seen glimpses of. I know we have to be patient with Williams, but it's there. That talent is in there, 100%. We've seen that. But again, a bit like what we said about Lowry, we need to see it more consistently. And there's times, sometimes I look at him and he gets the ball and he's wide open with a 3-point shot and he passes it up. And I remember, shout out to Zach LaVine, actually, I forget who it was against. He screamed at him, didn't he? He was wide open in the corner and Zach LaVine screamed at him because he passed it off to, I think, Vooch or whoever. As it happened, Vooch made the 3. But Zach's absolutely right. If you're wide open, you shoot that ball. If Alex Caruso can do it, so can Patrick Williams.
Yeah, Pat isn't even the only one. Ayo's done it. A few other players have done it where they catch the ball and they just hesitate and pass it. I'm like, you're open, shoot the shot. Even if you miss it, that's still a shot that you're supposed to take. You miss it, you miss it. Shoot the next one. Shoot.
Yeah.
You can't. No, I missed the last one here. It's like that's why we have so many turnovers in those games because you're taking too long, you're hesitating, and you end up throwing a bad pass because you're scared to shoot.
Yeah, Yeah, it's so frustrating to watch. Like you say, if you miss an open three, you miss it, but you take it every time. Just shoot yourself back into form. Yeah, it's so frustrating to watch. But hopefully that will change. The one thing that did interest me, what Pat Bev said was his two options were the Bulls or the Warriors. But the Warriors have a lot of guards. Has he not seen this Bulls roster?
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, dude, we have a lot of guards.
Yeah. I was quite intrigued to how many the Warriors had. I think I looked at it. The Bulls have nine, and the Warriors have eight. So, yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. But I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking there. Maybe he just sort of thinks because they're young, a lot younger, a lot of our guards. But I don't know. It's just a bit of a strange comment. Speaking of guards, I know someone who you instantly shut down on socials. I think it was the last game before All Star break. He got some minutes. I was calling for him to get the minutes, and that's Carlik Jones, who of course was brought up from the Windy City Bulls. I'm gonna back this guy and put that game down to nerves. And I think it was Mark Shanowski did as well, who watches a lot of him in the G League. Come on, man, you got to give him a chance.
See, people when I said he was trash, they automatically like, oh, it's one game, it's one game. I'm like, no, no, I don't mean he's like he can't play at all, like he's trash. He's good in the G League. He's amazing in the G League. I brought up Antonio Blakely, and people like, they're not the
Yeah.
same player. And I'm like, that's not what I mean. I meant he was the MVP in the G League, but when he came to the NBA, he wasn't really that good. And I didn't see anything from Carlik that made me think he would be good in the NBA. It was times of defense where he's just like jittering, and I'm like, what is this guy doing? So it wasn't that. Yeah, he made 1 point. Okay, yeah, he made 1 point, 0 for 4 from the floor, 1 for 4 from the free throw line. All right, that's nerves. That's cool. That I can deal with. It was his movement off the ball and on defense on an NBA level is what I looked at and was like, no. Keep him in the G League.
You may be right. I'm going to put the whole thing down to nerves, a rush of blood to the head. I don't know, but yeah,
I mean, I could be wrong.
Yeah,
I would love to be wrong, but from what I saw right there, I'm like,
I was all for giving him those minutes when they were talking about bringing in Russ or John Wall or Pat Bev, and I was like, just give those minutes to Dalen Terry and Carlik Jones is there. Just see the season out now. But I have completely flipped 180, and I am going all in. Win, win, win. Let's get to the playoffs, or at least the play in, which just sounds depressing, to be truthful. But when you look at the guys in the top six, you struggle to see them dropping off that much. But then equally, the Bulls did last season, so why not, right? Why can't the Knicks drop off a cliff all of a sudden? The Brooklyn Nets, I don't know if they're going to. They just look fun. They changed it up. They've blown it up, and they look like a really fun team. And obviously, we've got them Thursday night. So Friday night, isn't it? Friday night we've got the Nets. They look a really good team. Their front office has made some good moves considering they had stars to get rid of. They've done a good job.
Yeah, they got rid of like three superstars this year, but Harden, Kyrie, KD, and they still beat us the last game without Bridges and Cam Johnson being able to play. So they look like kind of how the Nets looked before they got Durant and Kyrie, where they just had a bunch of good players and they just played as a team. There was no superstar where, oh, we got to get him his shots because he's the best player on the team. He's our star player. It's just a bunch of guys that are going out there and trying to win. So yeah, they're going to be good and exciting.
I can't see them dropping out of the playoffs. And I think a lot of people sort of predicted they would after losing KD and Kyrie. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's going to be an interesting end to the season. The East has definitely got a bit weaker after the trade. I just don't think the Bulls have got strong enough to make a push. I hope I'm wrong, man. I hope Patrick Beverley turns into MJ or something and just does something. I don't know, man. I'm looking forward to his energy. I'm at least that, and like I say, hopefully it gives the others a bit of a kick up the backside. And I don't know about Billy Donovan. I mean, one of the things he did say in his podcast was Billy Donovan played a big part of him choosing Chicago because he liked him as a coach. We'll see how he feels about that in a few weeks' time after Billy does his halftime speech when he absolutely deflates everybody.
Yeah. I've said on my podcast is when they go in the halftime in the locker room and he's like, that was a great first half. You guys did really good. I want you to switch it up completely because they'll never see it coming. And it just doesn't work.
It's painful. It's painful. Like going through Vooch for lead and going into halftime leading by 22. What I want you to do now, guys, is completely stop that and play hero ball. Yeah, okay. I think Billy's tanking without even telling us. Billy wants Wemby next year. That's what it is.
I guess that went down with the secret extension. They told him, look, we're going to extend you, but you got to tank. But don't say we're tanking.
That was weird, man, that extension. Not that they gave it to him, but the fact they kept it quiet. That was strange.
I don't understand that at all. And nobody I talked to has understood that at all.
No, listen. I want to get behind AK and Mark Eversley so bad. I actually met Mark when I was out in Chicago in December, and he's a really cool guy. To be fair, really cool guy. But there are so many questions. For them to do absolutely nothing before trade deadline was just baffling to, I think, everybody. The team's broken. I'm not sure Patrick Beverley is the glue to put it back together. I hope he is. Like I say, at least he'll bring back some energy and some. Yeah, he's going to bring back some fight, and I am excited to see him. I just am. I mean, it's not the homecoming most Bulls fans wanted. I mean, how are you with Derrick Rose? Are you desperate for Derrick Rose to come back like so many, or?
I don't think he's going to come back until he retires.
Yeah, I feel the same.
Kind of how Joakim and Luau did, because he had a chance to come back, I think, for last season.
Yeah.
And he chose to go back with the Knicks. So I think, like, even though there's a different front office, there's still that hurt there for him to be traded the way he was traded.
Yeah, that's understandable. That's understandable for everything he did and how passionate he was about his hometown. That's got to be tough. I mean, we've all seen it. I assume you've seen the Pooh documentary, yeah?
Yeah,
it's a tough watch.
Yeah, that's why I said I think it's still just too much hurt there for him to want to come back and put that uniform on again. I
saw today that apparently, and this is from a reliable source who I'm sure you're aware of in Twitter. I'm not even going to name him. But there's a guy on Twitter that kept putting out all this nonsense about the Bulls are definitely doing this. And he was basically trying to be a Woj or a Shams. He was kind of like, if you order Woj or Shams from Wish.com, this guy will turn up. So I'm not even going to put his name out there because he doesn't deserve to be named. But he apparently has claimed that the Chicago Bulls are unofficially retiring the number one. But it won't be officially announced until Derrick Rose actually retires.
Anybody with any type of knowledge already knew that, because the equipment manager has said it himself that it's pretty much unofficially retired and nobody else will wear that number.
And it has been since he left, right? And no one in their right mind is going to even try to wear the number one in Chicago, I don't think.
Oh, that's
Could you
hilarious.
imagine the reception they would get if they tried to wear that number?
Somebody tried to. I forgot who we got, and like they did the Photoshop of him and the one, and everybody went crazy. And he was like, "I didn't mean to disrespect Derrick Rose," and he chose a different number. Um, I want to say it was Campaign.
Oh wow.
I could be wrong. It was somebody that and we're like, "Wait, what are you doing?" And
Someone did a
he changed
jersey
it
swap.
quick.
Wow. Shout out Tony Bradley who tried to wear Joakim Noah's number. That didn't work out too well. Somebody said, somebody's saying it was Michael Carter Williams, apparently.
Yeah, that I knew it was some guard that sucked.
Yeah, I somebody said about we got to retire Joakim's number as well, unofficially, if we're doing it for Derrick Rose, which I absolutely agree with. If they're doing it for Rose, you do it for Joe as well. But my issue with that is, um, I really don't want the last Bulls player to wear the number 13 be Tony Bradley.
Tony was carried out of UC yesterday by Stephen Adams. So unfortunately, he took the number 13 with him. If they're gonna unofficially retire it.
I mean, I will say this. I met Tony Bradley very briefly when I was in Chicago, and his signature's actually on that jersey behind me because I wanted all the players and as many people as I could to sign that jersey. And I did meet him very briefly, and I have to say he's a genuinely come across certainly anyway as a really nice guy. He made time for everybody. Um, so I won't have any personal slander on Tony Bradley, but the fact that his most memorable moment of being a Bull was being carried away from a scuffle like Stephen Adams was picking up this phone. That's what everybody knows him for, and I feel bad for the dude, man.
I mean,
He's our best 3-point shooter this year in percentage. I think he's at 60%, isn't he? Maybe he's only made two, but
he winning 3-point contests in practice. He's the
he
Bulls
won that
3-point
too, right?
champion.
I mean, I saw him make a 3-pointer with my very eyes. I was in the United Center. I think it was against the Dallas Mavericks when he come on. He made a 3-point shot, and I took full credit because that was the day he signed my jersey. So I think somebody said on Twitter, "Did you give him the powers to make that 3-point shot?" And yeah, I took credit for that. Yeah.
So I don't blame you for taking credit for that.
I feel bad for the dude, man. I hope he finds happiness somewhere, whether it's in the NBA, the G League, overseas. I don't know, man. I he come across as a nice dude, so I kind of always root for nice guys, and I hope he finds happiness somewhere. It wasn't to be here, and I think the Steven Adams thing, man, that was just that was the end, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah. I mean, Sixers fans want him back. So
Do they really?
yeah, they want him back. I've seen several Sixers fans like, let's get Tony Bradley back. So
Oh wow. Oh, okay.
maybe he ends up back there. I don't know. He would need a backup big.
Oh okay. Oh, I hope
Might
so.
might
I hope
go
he
ahead
gets
and get
another
him.
shot. I hope he gets another shot. Um, Speaking of jersey numbers, I promised Kelly we got to touch on this. If anybody knows where the hell this game worn Matt Thomas number 21 jersey is, please report back to us. Because it's gone missing. Somebody has paid $350 for that. And not only do you need your head checking, we need to know where it's gone. We promise we won't make fun of you for paying $350 for a game worn Matt Thomas jersey. That jersey become iconic because of Kelly. And this was me and Kelly in the Madhouse store. That's blurry. If you're watching, you can just about make that out. It's all across the socials. And I think I had about 5 or 6 pictures with it while I was in Chicago. And I even found the game worn matching Matt Thomas shorts, which you can just about see there. We just want to know where that jersey is. We're not mad. Kelly's a little bit mad because it's ruined her game day experience. If you know where that jersey is, please just let us know that it's safe. That's all we want to know. We don't want it back. We just want to know that it's gone to a good home and is being loved. Thank you.
Yeah, you can't mess up Kelly's game day ritual like that and just not say anything.
Absolutely. My suspect number 1 is Big Dave Watson from the CHGO podcast. He's got to be, right? He calls him Matty Legend. He's the best 3-point shooter ever. That's what Big Dave tells us. So, Dave, you're suspect number 1. Just know that. We haven't got any more suspects yet, but we're working on it. Yeah, that was a big part of my trip, man.
Man, I have a second suspect for you.
Oh, here we go.
Matt Thomas.
Oh man, maybe Matt took it to Panathinaikos. Did he go to the Greek league?
Yeah, he wanted a souvenir to remember his last stop in the NBA, so he got his jersey and he went to the Greek league.
Do you know that it could well be Matt Thomas, right? Matt Thomas, you're now suspect number 1. Big Dave, you've dropped to number 2. We need to get in touch with Matt Thomas. I'm sure it won't be that difficult. We need to get in touch with him and find out if it was him that bought it. Yeah, we just want to know it's safe. We don't want it returned. We just want to know it's safe. There you go, Kelly. I promise you I'll bring that up. Let's quickly talk about, before we go, Derek, I want to quickly talk about your relationship with a certain ex-player. A legend. He keeps me entertained for hours, most of us entertained, but for me entertained in the early hours of the night when I watch the games, and that's Stacey King. I know, I think you two sort of connected online, right? And then you've met up a few times and stuff. And
yep, that's the big homie. You always see me call him, refer to him as the big homie, because in the hood, that's how you show respect to your OG. So that's my big homie. The Bulls were coming here to play, and I tweeted Stacey and was like, "Hey, can I get a pic with you after the game?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So they're not down front like at the United Center, like they're up top, almost like in a suite. So I didn't know this at the time, so I can't find him. And he hits me back on Twitter, and he's like, "Yeah, I tried to wait for you." I was like, "I couldn't find you, man."
I remember that.
I'll try to come to Chicago next season for a game. And he said, "If you come to Chicago, I'll give you tickets." And he said, "Just remind me." I hit him up the next season. He 2-day mailed the tickets to me. So went to Chicago, met him, talked with him for a bit on the Bulls court. And like the next week, COVID shut the league down.
Man.
We just stayed in touch online. He'd come on my podcast. Like I can text Stacey, like talk to him on the phone sometimes. Like it's a simple picture request became like a lifelong friendship.
That's awesome, man. But that's Stacey all over, right?
That's Stacey.
I had the pleasure when I was in Chicago, and it's quite a funny story. And if you've listened to Stacey's Give Me the Hot Sauce podcast, you may be familiar with Stacey's version of this story. Stacey is a great storyteller, first and foremost. He's a fantastic storyteller. But my God, did he make me out to be like some crazed fan who he needs to get a restraining order against. I really want to get him on this podcast. I've hit him up on Instagram before I went to Chicago, but he didn't see it. But I've kind of got a contact with Mark Shanowski a bit now as well. But I don't like asking for favors, so I've not mentioned it to Mark yet. But I do. I've been desperate to get Stacey on this for so long. It was the Dallas Mavericks game, which was my second game of 3 in Chicago. And after the game, I ran down to where Stacey was, and unbeknown to me, because the way I went round was kind of like round the front rows from the seats. And as I kind of was approaching him, there was this guy having a photo, and he asked me to take the picture for him. So I said, yeah, cool, no problem. So I took a photo. And as I gave him his phone back, and I said, do you mind returning the favour? And he said, of course, no problem. So he took a photo of me and Stacey, and I was like, oh, Stacey, blah, blah, blah. And Stacey was a little bit like, bit off. And I was like, oh, that's weird. He's never really known him to be like that. And it wasn't until after I had my picture taken and I looked back, and there was a queue of about 20 people up the stairs that had all been patiently queuing to have a picture with Stacey. And this crazy British guy didn't realise and just basically jumped the queue and looked like a right arrogant you know what. So I felt terrible after that. I was like, oh my God, what have I just done? I've been wanting to meet Stacey for years. I've just blown it. He now thinks I'm an absolute idiot, arrogant, what have you. And I at the Windy City Bulls game just after that, I met up with Michelle Johansson, who has got links with Stacey because she knows Bill Wennington quite well and what have you. And she said, "Oh, you met Stacey King?" And I said, "Ah, yeah, but I blew it. Like I've made a massive error." And I explained to her what had happened. Oh, he won't remember. He'll be fine. It's all good. And I met Mark Shanowski, and I told Mark about it as well. And Mark said, "Oh, he'll be fine. Don't worry about it." So on the next game, which was my final game, which was the Knicks game, I made a point of going round because I wanted to meet Adam as well. Adam, I mean, and I went round and I called Adam, and Adam he was such a nice guy, by the way. Adam, I mean, such a gentleman. I was sort of chatting to him and stuff, and I had a photo with both of them, which was really cool. And then it wasn't until I got back from Chicago and I listened to the Give Me the Hot Sauce podcast, and Mark Shanowski said, "Oh, I heard you had the pleasure of meeting Jimmy from UK Chicago Bulls at the Knicks game." And Stacey just went off on one and went, "Oh man, that guy's crazy. He come bulldozing through." And I was listening to it like, "What? That's not how that played out at all, man." But the story was just so cool. So it did make me laugh. But I need to get Stacey on and call him out on that. But it was quite funny. 'Cause are you aware that I got a lift back from the Windy City Bulls game by Will Perdue?
Yeah, I was like, wow, no, that's cool.
It was so crazy. It was. I still watch the video back now because I don't believe it happened. But Mark said to Stacey, "Oh, I hear. Did you hear that Will Perdue gave him a lift back from that Windy City game?" And he's like, "Yeah, I heard." He goes, like basically, what if he was a serial killer? Like, what is Will thinking? Like, pay for his Uber, man. Don't let him in the car with you and all this sort of stuff. It was hilarious. But I mean, Stacey's right. Yeah, I could have been anyone. But yeah, Will Perdue was just too nice. But I love Stacey, man. He's an awesome dude. I think we're so lucky to have him calling our games. Him and Adam Amin stepped into some very big shoes, of course. And yeah, with Neil Funk. So I sometimes on League Pass we only get if the Bulls are on the road, we might only get the home team because League Pass is a bit iffy at the moment. And it's not until you watch the other broadcast and you realise just how lucky we are to have those two. I think they're awesome.
Yeah, no. It's like when they play on TNT here and we have the TNT run, I'm like, I gotta watch this game, and it's not Stacey calling it and Adam. It's just not the same.
It's not. No, it's really not. They work so well together as well. I'm going to shout out Tim Sinclair as well because Tim does such an awesome job. And again, it wasn't until I was in Paris watching the Bulls Pistons game, and no disrespect to the Pistons announcer, but it makes you appreciate just how good Tim Sinclair is at his job. A bit like Stacey and Adam. You don't appreciate it, I think, until you have to have something different. And the fact that Tim Sinclair got called up to All-Star to do the events. I know he didn't do the actual game, but he did the Rising Stars and all the other events, the Slam Dunk contest, blah, blah, blah. All the announcing for that is, yeah, that's not by luck. He's legitimately awesome at his job. And hopefully I'm going to be getting him on as well because I've been in contact with him as well. So he should be coming on the podcast soon, just trying to figure it out because he's obviously a very busy man. But yeah, shout out to all those guys, man. We are so lucky with this team to have those guys on our broadcast. We really, really are. But yeah, your relationship with Stacey is so awesome, man.
It's the big homie, man. uh, I don't even know, like, I can't put it in words. Like, just being able to call him my friend is, it's never would have expected to be friends with a legend and a 3-time NBA champion that play with the GOAT.
Yeah. From a tweet asking for a picture. That's the best thing about it all. I remember seeing that live. I was following you on Twitter back then, and I remember when you sort of tweeted him, or he tweeted you and said I couldn't see you or what have you. I was gutted for you, and I just gradually watched that kind of when he tweeted you back and said next time you're in Chicago, hit me up for tickets, and I just thought, oh, that probably won't happen. It's just lip service, but true to his word, it happened, and some.
Yeah. So, like I'll see him Friday. So
Are you going to the game Friday?
yeah, I'll be at the game Friday.
Oh, awesome. Oh, okay, cool. I'm very jealous, man. I miss the place so much. I just love Chicago. Not even just the basketball, just the city in general. It's just an amazing place. So I'll get back eventually. It's not going to be anytime soon because life and money just won't allow it. But it was a hell of an expensive trip that, and it set me back a bit. But it was worth every penny, that's for sure. And I wouldn't change a thing. One of the guys from the Bulls messaged me and said, "When you come back, I don't know how we're going to top that trip." And I just simply said to him, "It doesn't need to be topped. It was just that was my first ever time in Chicago. It was once in a lifetime. What happened happened. None of that needs to be replicated. You know, it's just yeah."
Like, yeah, you met Joakim.
Oh man,
Wow.
it was so crazy. They seriously looked after me. The guys. We've got some awesome people in charge of that side of it, all the fan stuff and all the social media. Again, like I just said with Stacey, Adam, and Tim, the people that run the accounts and that I've been in touch with or that have been in touch with me, they're just such awesome people. We're honestly so lucky. I mean, a lot of the other fan accounts, UK fan accounts for the other teams, they were shocked with sort of how I was treated while I was out there and the awesome treatment I got. They were blown away by it. Well, obviously, so was I, so was everyone. But the fact that they did all that for me, and not just me, but for others as well, they're awesome. I can't talk highly enough of them. The people there, seriously, just wish the front office, coaching staff, and players we could say the same about at the moment. But we'll get there.
Yeah. Echoing your statements, like, yeah, the Bulls treat me very well every time I come to Chicago in the UC. So I definitely agree with you on that, man. we just need that same love from the players.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Derek, thank you so much, man, for coming on. I've really enjoyed speaking with you. I've been following you for a long time, so I really appreciate you coming on, man.
I appreciate you having me, man. Still got to get you on nothing but bull.
Absolutely, man. You just say it and I'll be there. But give your socials and stuff a quick shout out before we sign off.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. It's at Young Jordan. And if you're on Discord, join the Chicago Bulls official Discord. I'm a moderator there. And again, just Young Jordan.
There we go. And go and check out the Nothing But Ball podcast as well with Jordan, Justin, and Melissa. Shout out Melissa as well. I met Melissa in Chicago. She is so awesome, man. Such a cool person.
Yeah. Me and her connected through the Bulls. So it's like the Bulls just bring people together all over the place.
Yeah, man. No, she was also actually met her mum and dad as well. That was at the Knicks game. Her mum and dad were there. They were really cool as well. So yeah, I had a moment towards the end of leaving the United Centre that night, and yeah, I didn't want anyone to see me, but Melissa was there and she saw me. But yeah, she gave me a hug. She's just awesome, man. I've got a lot of time for her. She was a special part of my trip as well, as was everyone that I met. I met so many cool people there. So yeah, shout out to everyone. But yeah, Derek, thank you so much, man, and we'll be in touch again soon, I'm sure. But keep doing what you guys do, and yeah, hopefully this Bulls team can get better.
Hopefully, man. You got to keep it going for the UK fans. It's a whole. You guys are dedicated. Where you guys are staying up like way too late just to watch the game. So it's awesome.
Yeah, well, life. Unfortunately, my life with work and family doesn't allow me to watch all the games live. But I wish I could. I try and do one a week, but I'll be honest, I haven't done a midnight one or one through the night for a long time. But that's just purely because I wasn't getting up to watch this team the way I felt. So what I do is I get up like 2 hours before I have to go to work, and I'll watch the game before I go to work and stuff. So instead of getting up at like 7 or whatever, I'll be up at 5 and get up and watch the game. So I'm still not getting as much sleep, but I'm not getting broken sleep, which somehow is a bit better. I don't know if it is. I'm just trying to convince myself that. But yeah, we've actually got a couple of UK friendly tips coming up. We've got one this Saturday against the Wizards, which is at 8:30 p.m. tip in the UK, and the following Sunday is against the Pacers, I believe, which is also an 8:30 UK tip. So we got two early tips coming, which is awesome. We need more of those, though. We need more Sunday afternoon games for us UK fans, or European fans, I should say, because it's not just the UK. But yeah, Derek, thank you so much, man. Guys, go and check Derek out and the guys at Nothing But Ball. Thank you for joining us, watching, listening, as always. Yeah, I love doing this, so appreciate everyone's support. Bulls basketball is back Friday night. Oh my God, against the Nets. We're gonna finish the season on a high. We're gonna go for a playoff push, and we are gonna finish in the top 7. I'm gonna say 6 is too ambitious. We're gonna finish in the play-in top 7. We're gonna win the play-in, and we are going to beat the Boston Celtics in round 1. You heard that here first. We're not, but let's just pretend we are. Guys, enjoy the games. Until next week, go Bulls.
Bulls.